Let's walk through how I would help a student debug this code here for example 1. So first, they might run the code and say, my code isn't working the way I want it to. And the first thing I would ask them to do is tell me, what do you expect your code to do? So here's what we're getting, but what do you actually expect the code to do? And so they might look here at this comment that actually tells us your code should replace all negatives with 0. And so I would have the student actually write out, or in this case, type out what they would expect the code to do. So if we replace all negatives with 0, then that should mean the array list becomes, well, let's see, negative 10.5. That should be replaced with 0. So we should get that. And then 21.5, that's not a negative, so we'll just keep 21.5. Negative 32.0, well, that's a negative, so that should also be replaced with 0. So we should expect our ending array to list these three numbers, but instead we're getting this. So then I would ask my student, well, I noticed that your list is getting longer. It should be only 3 items, but instead you're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items. Why do you think your list is getting longer? Can you find where in the code you might be adding extra numbers? And so then hopefully the student would look at the for loop and say, okay, yeah, we're looping through the array list. And okay, if the ith index we're looking at has a value that's less than 0, data.add 0.0. And this is what I would really want them to focus in on. And I would want them to see that every time we find an index that has a value less than 0, we're adding to the list. We're not replacing it. If we need to replace, what we really need is data.set. And we need to give it 2 parameters, tell which index to replace and what we want to replace it with. So if we're looking at I, we want to replace it with 0.0. And deleting this, let's just comment this out. This would allow the code to work correctly, because every time the code comes across an ith index that has a value less than 0, it will set that index to be 0.0. So we can actually run this code and see what happens. And we got an error. What? Let's see, line 14. Oh, it found us typing out what we should see. Try again. There we go. And this actually mimics exactly what we would want to see. So there we go. Thanks for watching.